What's up guys, my name is Matt and who the hell is Bubsy? E3 is home to many weird and wonderful announcements. Wonderful like Age of Empires, Mario, and weird like Bubsy. Why, E3, do you mean that video game mascot that no one really liked or has actually cared about for the last 20 years? Why yes, said the video game industry proudly. See, we looked at the film industry with its nothing but sequels and remakes and reboots and thought to ourselves, wow, now they're onto something there. Who's Bubsy? Well, believe it or not, he's 100% bona fide Sonic fanfiction. Yeah, you know, when someone on DeviantArt colors Sonic orange and says, yeah, this is Blonic the Hedgehog, new character. That's Bubsy. I'm not kidding, the creator Michael Berlin has gone on record to say in the lead up to Bubsy he was playing Sonic the Hedgehog 14 hours a day. Pfft, fucking nerd! Then out came Bubsy. Bubsy the Bobcat. I mean, at least he's got alliteration. He even wears a shirt with an exclamation point on it because I guess that's a costume. Guys, you got it all wrong. This isn't true to the character at all. See, let me help you. See, this is much closer to the original vision. Now, by this point, Michael Berlin was already an established video game developer, which means he could do something that most Sonic fans could only dream of. Turn his OC into a fully fledged video game. Yeehaw! The result was Bubsy in Claws Encounters of the Third Kind. Disgusting. Bubsy may look like a pretty unremarkable character now, but back in 1993, we really didn't know any better. Magazines thought he was going to be the Sonic killer. Pfft, silly people, didn't you know Sonic's biggest enemy was always going to be himself? Just like the rest of us. There was one thing that Bubsy did that was new and exciting at the time. He actually spoke in his video games.
What could possibly go wrong?
Haha! Yeah! It's almost like he's foreshadowing something. The game begins by telling you to collect yarn for lives and points. Ah, how creative! A cat collecting yarn! And next we'll make a Japanese guy that collects sushi and rice. Why is yarn everywhere? Well, of course, this game is from the era where you were supposed to read the manual, and Bubsy does not disappoint here. It's basically a complete comic book and then a couple pages of instructions at the end. Across the inky velvet reaches of, oh my god, who gives a shit? There are beings that stretch the very fabric of reality. Beings like the Woolies, whose unbridled lust for yarn is legendary across the galaxies. Damn it, Woolies, I knew you were bad news. Have you found a new planet to plunder of wonderful wool? Yes, your embroidered highnesses. Have a bo peep. Through my fiber optic yarnoscope. I don't even think little kids would be laughing at this. I feel like the parent would be reading it like, oh, I get it. And the kid would just be sitting there like, just look at that fucking shit-eating grin. Bubsy apparently has the most yarn in the world, so the Woolies come along and steal it. And do a shit job apparently, because now it's just all over the place. I mean, it looks pretty good, arguably even better than Sonic. But then you start playing it and what even was that? I landed, realized there was an enemy, turned around, and then died? Like even the fucking giant mutant ant doesn't know what's going on. The controls really encapsulate I tried to copy Sonic and not even that hard. Bubsy starts off at a slow, leisurely pace, but then immediately speeds up to gotta go fast speeds, usually straight into an enemy. These level designs really aren't suited to fast movement, but I guess we gotta do it because Sonic made it way past cool! When you die, you have to watch a death animation, which is kinda cool the first time, but gets super monotonous real fast. Especially because you'll be seeing it an awful lot. Bubsy dies in one hit, making this game surprisingly hard. There are no mushrooms or rings to help you out. He dies as soon as he touches water, making him far more annoying than Sonic. He also dies falling from too high, making him far more annoying than everybody. Yeah, that's a good idea, right? Instant fall deaths in a game where you can't fucking see the ground half the time. How else can we put challenge in this game? Dude, I'm so hot. That's brilliant. Bubsy also glides for some reason. Bobcats don't, but Bubsy does. Once again, believe it or not, this is another thing ripped from Sonic the Hedgehog. According to Michael Berlin, the traveling through air leaps that Sonic made, landing on the ground or a platform unharmed, was the springboard for Bubsy's glide. Yeah, that was pretty cool. So why'd you make Bubsy rip and kill after touching the ground too hard? Fuck do you mean you liked how Sonic flew through the air and landed on shit unharmed? These cars are really weird. The yellow ones you can jump on just fine, but the red ones take you away? Forever? I guess you could say he's been a catnapped. What am I doing with my life? Oh cool, a gumball machine. Oh, not cool. It's an enemy. What the fuck? How would a gumball machine kill you? Don't try to attack them or you'll gum up the works. Huh. Well, I'm glad someone's finally taking a stand against chewing gum. We need to promote safer habits like jumping on cars and people that look kind of funny. The manual is actually surprisingly elaborate. If only they'd put this effort into the game, am I right? Look familiar? After 3 grueling stages, the game finally lets you save. I mean, gives you a passcode instead of letting you save. Because you can't spell accolade without Ackle, didn't want to put any money into these cartridges, just wanted to cash in on the mascot craze as much as we possibly could. Aid. The manual even has the balls to call it a feature. Enter passcode. This is great. With passcodes, you and I can start where we left off. Yeah, nice try. I think this is what you really meant. Anyway, Bubsy isn't terrible. Its only major crime was generating a lot of hype for a game that's just kinda average. But speaking of hype, nothing spells quality franchise in the 80s and 90s like your own cartoon show. Anybody who was anybody in the video game world had a cartoon at some point, which is why Bubsy didn't, but it wasn't for lack of trying. A pilot was made but never picked up, which is quite an achievement considering how crappy some of those cartoons were. Directed by not Tim Burton, the pilot revolves around Bubsy, his nephews, and this guy getting a helmet from another guy named Virtual Reality that changes their environment to whatever they're thinking about. That's not virtual reality, that's just reality. Someone decided this is now Bubsy's catchphrase.
What could possibly go wrong?
The first few times it's kinda endearing, but
Hey, what could possibly go wrong?
by the goddamn 8th,
What could possibly go wrong?
it starts to get a little grating. The enemies are not the Woolies from the game, just this crazy cat lady, literally crazy cat lady, who wants the helmet so she can be rich and famous. Oh, clearly a state of national emergency, because the last thing we need is another Donald Trump. That's not even a joke, that's just a true fact. And that's pretty much it. They just fight over a helmet for half an hour and then stop. It's pretty trashy. So yeah, no worse than other cartoons at the time. The first Bubsy didn't change the world, but it did okay, so they made Bubsy 2. This time without the creator of Bubsy. This game opens with Bubsy shaking his ass at you like, you thought I was annoying last time? Woo!
Remember, I am a trained professional.
Alright, well that was Bubsy 2. I hope you all enjoyed this opportunity to cry as much as I did. Oftentimes games improve with their sequels, but here I think the controls have actually gotten a little worse. But at least you don't die in one hit anymore, and it does have a little bit more depth to it. We have a hub world now, and the levels have much more variety than they did last time. There's no Woolies this time either. Instead of Yarn, we're just collecting these generic meaningless orbs. The manual doesn't even mention them. So is it better than the first game? Probably. But also, sort of no. Yeah. But wait, there's more. The next game is called Bubsy and Fractured Furry Tales, and as our Lord and Savior says,
What could possibly go wrong?
let me think. Well, the game could have been exclusively released on one of the least successful consoles of all time, meaning no one ever played it and no one ever will. Oh, well, what do you know? I will say this, Bubsy makes a great mascot for the Atari Jaguar. The game opens with a bunch of exclamation points. Like, guys, was there actually nothing else distinctive about this Oh wait, no, there wasn't.
Oh, sure, let's all torch the Bubster.
Well, I'm glad the catchphrases survived. That was a catchphrase, right? Go ask Alice. Ask her what? Who the fuck is Alice, and why am I asking her anything? Alice's Wonderland. Oh, has been turned. Okay, is it just me or does this say absolutely nothing at all? I still don't know if I'm asking her for help or just asking her if she wants to go to prom with me. Again, we're collecting orbs. They went to so much effort to weave yarn into the story. But it only lasted for one game. Look at these guys holding hands. They've got long-range vertical and horizontal attacks, and they're pretty much invincible. No wonder people are so afraid of gays. For Bubsy 2, Accolade kicked out the original creator. For this one, Accolade kicked out themselves and told someone else to make the game for them. And you can really tell. This is by far the worst one yet. It feels like a fan game on Newgrounds or something, which I guess it kinda was. We're back to one-hit deaths, and the controls have managed to get even stiffer. Bubsy moves like a goddamn tank, and the level design is at its absolute worst. You never know what's a platform and what isn't. Check it out. This mug, not a platform. Teapot is a platform. Chair, not a platform. Cut me a break. The amount of times I jumped on an enemy just to land on a platform above them, which of course they can still hit me through. This has gotta be some kind of joke. Also, the death sound is the same as the pickup sound. Come on, guys, you couldn't afford a second sound effect? This is gonna sound like an exaggeration, but I think this is one of the worst games I've ever played in my life. As far as officially licensed games for a major franchise, or at least something that was trying to be, it's just an absolute mess. Alright, we got one more game. So far, each game has been like the last one, but a little bit worse, but
now for something completely different.
It's 1996, and Bubsy is joining its rivals in attempting to Get the fuck out of here, Jaguar, you don't count. In attempting to survive with an... Nintendo did everything right, making landmark 3D games with Mario and Zelda. Sega fucked up and didn't release a proper 3D Sonic for another, 3 years or so. Bubsy, on the other hand, did release a game, but also managed to fuck up in the form of Bubsy 3D for the PS1. Alright, I'm so ready for this.
What could possibly go wrong?
You've probably already heard of how terrible this game is. It's widely considered one of the worst games ever made. They finally brought back the original creator for this one, and even he admits it wasn't great. Yeah, he's not wrong. The first thing you'll notice are the graphics, which are... well, just look at it. Even for 1996, this is pretty piss poor. We're meant to be on an alien planet, but it doesn't look alien so much as it looks unfinished. Looks more like a tech demo from the 80s.
Nerdy note.
Bubsy 3D's flat shading and simple polygons allowed the developers to run the game at a full 640x480. Extremely uncommon for the PS1. Too bad it looks ugly as fuck as a result. As for the gameplay, well, did I say Bubsy controlled like a tank before? Well, this time he doesn't just control like a tank. If the Titanic just scraped the side of the iceberg, Bubsy would have slammed right into it. You move forwards, backwards, and turn. That's it. Yeah, it's one of those games. Especially because all you had back then was a D-pad. This just sucks. Civ doesn't even describe it this time. And the level design, while not the worst we've seen today, is distinctly not great. So much so that they had to put arrows everywhere, because otherwise you'd have no idea where to go. You'll find yourself being instructed to jump over entire walls, which in any normal game would be a speedrunning tactic. Back in 1996, there was no real standard for 3D platformers. No one had ever really done it before, and Bubsy 3D was technically a pioneer in the field, so you could excuse its flaws for that reason. But guess which games came out 2 months earlier? Just Super Mario 64 and Crash Bandicoot, both of which made Bubsy look absolutely primitive in comparison. Michael Berlin said he took one look at Mario and said, "Oh crap." That really sums it up, doesn't it? His last game was Siphon Filter, a Metal Gear Solid clone. Jesus, does this guy have any original ideas? After that, he left the video game industry forever. Finally, everyone was done torturing the Bubster. Or were they? Fast forward to 2017 and Bubsy has returned.
I've been waiting to settle this score since 1993.
And it sounds like he spent the last 21 years chain-smoking non-stop. Will it be good? Who knows? I have a feeling that this is another year that Bubsy is gonna lose to Sonic the Hedgehog. But who knows, maybe Bubsy will surprise me. Probably not though. Sup guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button and leave a comment telling me what you like. I'd love to know. Now, if you ever wanted to tattoo the letters KC onto your chest, well, actually, that's a little extreme. I wouldn't recommend that. But I do have the next best thing instead. Now, you too can grab the attention of your significant other or crush, as they say. What the hell does that mean? I've never heard of MattKC in my life. With the official MattKC t-shirt. Comes in whatever colors Teespring has currently available. I think it's white and black. And some others. All proceeds go directly to funding more episodes of the show. It's a win-win for everyone. Except Jesus, because I don't think anyone ships to heaven, but that's his problem, not ours. In the meantime, do you guys like bonus content? I upload all sorts of memes and other weird shit on my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages. If you'd like to see more, subscribe. And of course, if you haven't seen any of these, check them out too. I hear they like romantic dinners and a long walk on the beach, but that's for you to figure out.